So, in today's class, we will discuss about the various aspects of plastics processing. As you know, in our earlier classes, we have dealt various plastics processing techniques like process techniques and farming techniques. Okay. So, in process techniques, with reference to what I mean to say is, in process techniques, with reference to plastics processing, we have dealt with the various methods of molding of a given plastic material. So, in that, we also discussed molding methods like injection molding, transfer molding, blow molding, etc. So, these all come under the process techniques. Apart from this process techniques, in our previous classes, we also had a discussion about plastics farming. So, when it comes to plastics farming, we have mainly two methods of plastics farming. Okay. In those two methods of plastic farming, the widely used plastics farming, the widely used plastics farming is extrusion. As I already briefed to you regarding the extrusion process. Okay. And apart from extrusion, we also have sheet farming techniques. In the plastics farming techniques. Okay. These two are the vital farming techniques with reference to plastics. Okay. First one is extrusion, which is very important, and obviously it will find a place in the coming end examination in our subject called Advanced Manufacturing Engineering. So, I repeat, you must be thorough of extrusion farming technique, which should be appeared in part C, which carries obviously 5 marks. Okay. Then apart from these two plastics forming techniques, we also had the discussion about the vacuum forming and a high air pressure forming. These are another two plastics forming techniques where these techniques, these forming techniques are used exclusively for what we can say the hollow, for producing the hollow components. So as I explained in our previous classes, hollow components are nothing but production of plastic bottles, production of plastic tubs, TUBS tubs, plastic mugs, like this, whichever is deeper in shape, deeper in length, those are called hollow products. So especially for producing those hollow products, these forming techniques like vacuum forming and air pressure forming are widely used. This is also explained in the previous classes. Okay, and now in today's class I am switching over to calendaring. So this term you seem to be a new for you, as the calendaring is a plastics forming technique where the plastic sheet, where the plastic sheet is placed in between the rollers, where the plastic sheet is placed in between the rollers which are rotating in clockwise and anti-clockwise directions. Okay, strictly speaking, we will use four rollers. Out of four rollers, two rollers will rotate in clockwise and another two rollers will rotate in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, if you take the required plastic sheet and pass into in between the rotating rollers, then the sheet will be pressed by the rotating rollers and formed into our required shape. So if any intricacy is there or surface finish is required to the much extent, then the same plastic sheet, after passing it into the first series of rollers, then the same plastic sheet, we will allow the same plastic sheet to pass through the second set of rollers, so that it will get softened and good surface finish will be obtained. Thereby the product quality is improved. Okay, so this is nothing but the calendaring. Okay, calendaring, in another words, it is a continuous production process. Calendaring, in another words, it is a continuous production process where plastic sheet will pass through a set of rollers, and then if required, the plastic sheet will again be fed into the another set of rollers, so that the plastics will take the shape of the desired product. Okay, so this is all about the calendaring method. Okay, so why this particular forming technique is named as calendaring? So calendar, if you listen the term calendar, or definitely in your mind you will come across our daily used calendar for the year 2020 or 2021. Then how it is compatible, how the word calendaring is compatible with this the word calendar. So if you look at our regular calendar, if you look at our regular calendar, which we will continuously use in our home needs to check out the dates and other festivals and other tithi, etc. What will happen? So one after the other, the numbers will go on one after the other, and they will the numbers, number 1, 1st January, after that 2nd January, up to 31st January. Then the month will change, February. Then up to like this, up to December, will calendar it is showing. Then again you will take another calendar, again it will show the same January, but the year will change. That means this is a repetitive process, or you can say it is a continuous process. So in that way, calendar, the term calendar is adapted to this plastics forming technique called calendering. Because calendering is a mass production process. Calendering is continuously producing the plastic sheets by passing through the rotating rollers continuously, and then taking the plastic sheet after passing through the one set of rotating rollers, then it is allowed to pass through the another set of rollers so that the desired properties can be achieved. Okay, so this is how the name will be kept as calendering. Okay, so let us have a look at the advantages and disadvantages of calendering. The process of calendering is costly. Process of calendering is costly. Why? Because why the process of calendering is costly? As I said just now, calendaring needs the rollers. So between the rollers, this plastic sheet is to be fed. Okay. So because of these rollers, generally what I said, we will use 4 rollers, out of which 2 rollers are rotating in clockwise direction and another 2 rollers will rotate in anti-clockwise direction. So at least 4 rollers are mandatorily required to perform the calendering operation. Okay. So because of these rollers, the calendering process or calendering technique, or you can say calendering forming technique, is costly. This is one of the disadvantage. But when it comes to the positive side, you look at the advantages. Calendering will give you the good quality products with a fine surface finish, because already plastic sheet is undergoing compression between the 4 rollers, then no separate surface finishing methods are required for the plastics. Hence, in this way, It is an value addition process for plastics farming, so that the plastics with sound quality will be produced with the help of rollers and no separate finishing, surface finishing machines are required, hence thereby reducing the surface finishing cost. Okay, in this way calendaring is useful with reference to plastics farming, as we need the desired product up to the standards of modern industries. Okay, this is all about calendaring. Then we will switch over to some other before switching over to another farming technique in calendaring, I would like to add a few more lines. Those are, so I would like to add a few more lines in calendaring process or farming techniques, that the product thickness produced by calendaring technique is generally between 1 mm to 0.3 mm. Okay, so that much of very sophisticated products, plastic products, are produced by calendaring method. Okay, this thickness whatever I have said now, 1 mm to 0.3 mm, can be further reduced if you want by passing through the rollers 2-3 times continuously subsequently, so that even low thickness products can be produced by using calendaring method. Okay, so this is all about the plastics farming techniques. Okay, so our chapter is plastics processing. So this chapter is included in the subject called advanced manufacturing technique, advanced manufacturing engineering, or you can say advanced manufacturing technology. So in advanced manufacturing technology, our chapter what we are dealing is plastics processing. In plastics processing, we have studied about calendaring. Okay. So up to now I explained you plastics processing techniques like injection molding, blow molding, compression molding, etc. These are the process techniques. And plastics forming techniques are also there. These plastics forming techniques, there are mainly two forming techniques are there. One is you can say extrusion, which is widely used in the industries, especially for the plastics forming. Plastics forming. After extrusion, sheet forming is there. Then apart from these two forming techniques, we also have another forming techniques like vacuum forming and air pressure forming. As I told you earlier, vacuum forming and air pressure forming are extensively used for producing the hollow objects, hollow components. So, what are the examples for hollow components? You can the two hollow components, the two by plastics, hollow components, the two be produced by plastics. So you can take our plastic tub, bucket, plastic water bottle, hollow. So we are using some plastic, some vessels for keeping pickles. Nowadays, all the syrups are coming into the plastics bottles. These are all hollow plastic products. All these hollow products will be manufactured extensively by using the vacuum forming and air pressure, high air pressure forming techniques. Okay. So this is all about the forming techniques. And apart from this, calendaring also I dealt with. Okay. So next we will switch over to another topic in the plastics processing. So this topic involves machining of plastics and welding of plastics. Machining of plastics and welding of plastics. Okay. So what is the need to go for machining of plastics? Already we have various process techniques for plastics to produce the required product with the required dimensions as per the industrial need, then why we are going for the machining of plastics? So this question has got its significance in such a way that although we have different process techniques like molding methods, including blow molding, injection molding, transfer molding, etc. We have process techniques, molding methods to produce a required product by using plastics. Apart from these process techniques, we also have the forming techniques like extrusion and sheet forming. These are all called the plastics forming techniques. We have called process techniques, forming techniques. Apart from these two process techniques and forming techniques, we also have the another forming techniques like vacuum forming and air pressure forming. These vacuum forming and air pressure forming, you know that these are used only for producing the hollow components. So apart from this, we also have the calendaring method. Okay. Then we have so many techniques now. Then what is the need to go for machining of plastics and welding of plastics? So some of the products cannot be produced with this process techniques and forming techniques. In such cases, we will go for the machining of products and welding of products. Okay. So plastics machining, for listening itself, you feel some cumbersome, you feel some difficulty. How will you machine the plastic material, plastic sheet? Okay. But there are separate distinguished tools are there for machining the surface of plastics or the edges of plastics to bring the plastic sheet into the required dimensions as laid down in the process sheet of the industry. Okay. So there only you need to go for the machining of plastics. Okay. So machining of plastics will require much attention, when compared to the conventional plastics forming techniques or conventional plastic processing techniques. See, plastic sheet itself is having a very low thickness. So you have to hold that plastic sheet and you have to take the cutting tool and you have to make the cutting tool in contact with the this plastic sheet, then you have to machine it. So all this is a cumbersome process. Okay, even though it is cumbersome, machining of plastics is cumbersome, but it will give you a good surface finish product at the end. Okay, so this is about the machining of plastics. Okay, then we will switch over to another topic, that is welding of plastics. Welding of plastics. In the machining of plastics itself, you feel some disturbance in the mind how the plastics will be machined. But when it comes to welding of plastics, I am speaking about welding of plastics. How these plastics are being welded so that the required component will be manufactured as per the need. Okay, so again in the welding of these plastics will have different types of weldings techniques, different types of welding techniques. Okay, so let us see one by one what are those different types of techniques which are used for the welding of plastics. Okay, the first method of welding is cementing with solvent. I repeat, cementing with solvent. Okay, this is the first method of welding the plastics. Then second one is bonding with an adhesive. Bonding with an adhesive. So in welding of plastics, bonding with an adhesive. You know adhesive which will stick to a surface, then it will be known as adhesive surface. For that surface, some bonding will be needed, thereby welding process will be carried out. This is the second method, that is known as bonding with an adhesive. Third method of welding of plastics is thermal welding. As you know very well that thermal welding involves the heat in welding process. As you know very well that the thermal welding involves the heat in welding process. Then that liberated heat will be applied onto the plastics, then the plastics are converted into the desired shape and size. That is the third method of welding, that is known as thermal welding. Okay. Another last method of welding is mechanical fastening. Mechanical fastening. So it is nothing but fastening means joining two or more components. Mechanical fastening means joining the two or more components with the help of a machine or with the help of a, you can say, mechanical instruments like this, you can say handle or spanner, etc. So mechanical fastening is the last welding technique which is widely used on the plastics to mold the plastic into the desired shape and size as per the industrial needs. Okay. Here we will see, I will concentrate on welding of plastics. See, plastics have a thickness of about 1 mm or below 1 mm, you can say. This little amount of thickness plastics have to be welded. Just think of how much attention is required while welding the plastic sheets. Okay. Obviously, welding the plastic sheets is not that much easy. It requires a lot of expertise and skill to perform the welding operation on the plastic sheets. So, what I mean to say is, welding plastics is highly expensive process. Why? Because operator should have the meticulous attention towards welding process, and his entire concentration should be focused on a particular point on the plastic sheet where the welding is carried out. So, but see, obviously this welding of uh, plastics is expensive or costly. Why? Why? Because operator needs to have focused attention during the welding process, and he should not deviate his attention. Hence, operator demands more wages and salaries towards the welding of plastics. Okay. So this is all I wanted to say about welding of plastics and machining of plastics. Okay. So with this, I am closing the today's session. Okay.